In the previous video, we completed the configuration of our OpenVPN server. In this video, we're going to issue a certificate to a VPN user and configure the OpenVPN client to connect to the server. Finally, in the end, I'll demonstrate revoking the certificate to deny that user access to the VPN. For starters, we will browse to pkiaas.io and log in. We want to make sure that we're using our OpenVPN CA. And because we're issuing certificates now to our OpenVPN clients, we'll need to create a new template. And we'll name it OpenVPN Client. And we will use the OpenVPN Client Starter template. Let's take a quick look at the key usages. Everything looks good. We'll save that. And in this case, I am acting as the administrator and I want to send this certificate to a VPN user that wants to connect to my VPN. So I'm going to say public certificate request, and I'm going to send that to pkiaasuser@gmail.com. While we wait on the user to get that email, let's go ahead and jump into our client workstation and let's Google for OpenVPN download. Click here on the community downloads, and we want to download the Windows 64-bit MSI installer in my case. Let's go ahead and install OpenVPN. Okay, while we're waiting on that, let's check this email. We do have our certificate request invitation that the administrator emailed to the user. If we click on that and click this link to make our request. In this case, I'm intending to configure OpenVPN to use a certificate in the native Microsoft Store. So I'm going to leave I have a CSR selected. I'm going to click the Start menu and type in MMC. Select File, Add or Remove Snap-in. Select Certificates Add. We want to do this for my user account. Okay. Expand Certificates. Click on Personal. Right-click. Select All Tasks, Advanced Operations, and Create Custom Request. Select Next. I'm going to proceed without an enrollment policy. And we can select the defaults here and click Next. But here we want to select Details, Properties, Subject. I want to add a common name. In this case, it's just going to be Lias Spieler. And let's go to private key and make sure that our private key is at least 2048 bits. I'm going to mark that as exportable. Apply. Next, I want that to be base 64. And I'm going to save that on the desktop. All right, so our OpenVPN installation is finished. I'll close out of that. I'm going to come to this CSR that we have. I'm just going to copy this base 64 and paste it into the request that we were given a link to by the administrator and submit that. Request is submitted. So as the administrator, I'm going to come in and look at my pending requests. I see the one that was submitted here. This is Lias Spieler requesting a certificate. That looks good. I'll go ahead and sign that. And then my VPN user should get another email with a signed certificate. While we wait on that, let's start looking at the configuration for the OpenVPN client. And because I use the common name Lias Spieler, I'm going to put that right here. If you use a different common name, make sure to put whatever it is you chose there. And I need the certificate authority that we created earlier and configured on the OpenVPN server. So I'm going to go up to Certificate Authorities, Manage CAs, and I'm going to look at Get CA Certificate, copy that to my clipboard, and paste that into the configuration. And I'm going to go ahead and save this file, and I'm going to email that to my user as well. All right, so back to our user's workstation. So we've got our config. I'm going to click on that and download the config. Let's show that in folder. And what we need to do here is import that into OpenVPN. So let's right-click in the taskbar, import file, browse to download, select it, open. File imported successfully. That's good. If we try to connect to the VPN right now, connecting to Windows has failed. Okay, so let's see if we've got our certificate yet. All right, now that we've got our certificate voucher, we can click and download. Let's download in base64 format. We want to keep it. Go ahead and show it in folder. We need to import this certificate into our certificate store where we made the request previously, and that'll recombine it with the private key that was created when we made that request. So let's right-click, All Tasks, Import. And there's our certificate. Next, next, finish. So there it is, and let's try and connect to OpenVPN again. All right, it looks like we're connected. Let's try and do a ping. All right, we can see it's pinging, and just for fun, we'll disconnect and reconnect again. You can see those pings stop. Connect one more time. And there's our pings responding again. So let's assume that this VPN user got fired from the company he was working at. We no longer want him to connect into the VPN. So as the administrator, we can go and select that user certificate and revoke it. I'm going to choose certificate hold because it's the one revocation reason that'll allow us to unrevoke the certificate. So that certificate's now revoked. In order for this to take effect, we need the OpenVPN server to download a new copy of the CRL for the next time that user connects. So let's disconnect from the VPN. Let's pull up our server documentation from the previous video. And we want to run this script to download a copy of that CRL. Let's run that on the server. And then we're going to have this user try and connect again. And you can see that we're not able to connect. If we take a look at our logs on the VPN server, we'll see that the TLS handshake is failing because the certificate's revoked. So let's go ahead and stop this connection. Like I said, because we revoked for certificate hold, we're going to have the ability to unrevoke that certificate. And we'll come back over here. download a fresh copy of that CRL, and try and connect to the VPN again. And there we have a successful connection. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments. In the next video, I'll demonstrate how to issue certificates to an iOS client and get them connected to the VPN.